Welcome to the Tech M&A Podcast. Presented by the Corum Group. Welcome to the Tech M&A Podcast. Here we dive into the strategies, challenges, and candid stories of tech entrepreneurs who have successfully sold their companies. Today, I'm joined by guest Ashley Moore, who engaged Corum to sell his GIS-based SaaS company, Spatialest. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me today, Ashley.
Thank you for having me.
To start, just tell me a little bit about yourself and your company.
I was the CEO of Spatialest up until the company was sold last year. I got involved with Spatialest initially through the University of Ulster in Corum, Northern Ireland. I was working with the university on a program to commercialise technology. In the spinning out from the university, we had seen the very beneficial economic impacts in America, and we wanted to replicate that in Northern Ireland. So I was introduced to Spatialest. I was asked to go on as non-executive director, which I did for 18 months. And then my term was up and I moved on. And then they were doing a funding round and they came back to me and said, would you have a look at this? And I took a look at it and decided I would invest in the funding round and took that round. And then I got more actively involved in the company. Going forward that, I ended up managing the company. What we did one more funding round. The production of Spatialest was to write software for local government in America so that they could analyse and share all the vast amount of property information they have so they could raise tax, property tax, and communicate with citizens.
And this project started as a tech transfer from University of Ulster. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. It started as a university project. It was a research project to write a program to simultaneously value lots of different properties based on best local comparables. Thousands of properties at a time. And of course, the largest homogenous property market in the world is the United States. And so this is slightly before my time. The guys took their ideas to the States and eventually got traction and it went from there. So that's how we ended up in the peculiar situation of being a Northern Ireland company with 100% of our customers in the US.
I can understand how that would create some challenges. So how did you learn about Corum?
I learned about Corum. I was beginning to think of a process that would lead us towards a partnership and talk a bit more about why we needed to do that. And I started doing some research in the marketplace and Corum's name came up a couple of times. And I think I reached out to the company, sent me some information. I then sat in a couple of virtual meetings. We spoke. And then I went to a conference that you were running in London. To be honest, up until that point, I had thought we could run the process ourselves. But I came to the realization that would not be possible for us to do. But we didn't have the time, the skill sets, or just the contacts to do that properly. And we made a decision to run with Corum.
So what was your motivation for going into the process? Was it time? Was it pressure from shareholders?
It was an amalgamation of things. I obviously, you should be aware of what's happening in your marketplace. And I could see that after a period of maybe 10 years when there was relative stability, money was coming into gov tech. Our competitors were being acquired by larger companies. Capital was being brought into those companies and it was going to make it harder for us to compete. So I could see that things were happening in the marketplace. Also from the company perspective, I could see that we needed to scale more quickly to make the most of our highly valuable IP. And by continuing to just operate on our own, I thought that was in jeopardy. And also in conjunction with the other shareholders, we thought it was a good time to start considering an exit.
So the big question, what's life looking like after selling the business?
Life's great. I have more time, of course. I've spent time traveling. I've spent time with my family. I'm actually trying to get better at golf. That's maybe one thing I'll not get there with, but life's good. But if you still have some energy, it's not necessarily the end of the story. And me personally, I'm starting to look at other opportunities going forward, and I now have time and capital to be choosy about what I do.
That's great. And with this experience in mind, what advice would you give to CEOs today that are considering going through an M&A process?
Think carefully about what you're trying to achieve, and you have to make sure that your company and the metrics that you can talk about associated with your company are in line with what the market needs. I mean, one of the things I did actually slightly before Corum and with Corum was to get a much better understanding of the type of people who might be in the marketplace to partner with us, what type of things they might be looking for, and make sure that our company organisation and our accountability, our finances and our legal structure was all in a very good place to deal with that, because the diligence process can be very exacting. And if you've been a bit slack or loose in running your company and in terms of those items, that's going to get exposed. So I would say have a very good understanding of your marketplace, what the other people are doing in the marketplace, how that might impact on you, but also make sure that your company is in very good shape so that you have a great story to tell.
Thank you. That's great. Do you have any final words of wisdom for our audience before we let you go?
Business is tough, let's be honest. I've spoken to several other businesses since our transaction, and I've explained to them that it's great and it's a great day when it happens, but there's many wins and disappointments up to that point, and I just think that the thing is to have confidence in yourself and your company and keep going till you achieve the right result.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Tech M&A Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends, colleagues, and fellow entrepreneurs. We release new episodes every 2 weeks, so make sure to subscribe and stay up to date on our latest interviews and tech M&A research. And if you have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to cover, please reach out to us on social media or email us at info@corumgroup.com. Join us again next time for more inspirational stories and practical